Good life, easy, baby. We're back
Again.
with Fight Night.
And
Good Life Easy presents the Fight Night.
UFC 262 around the corner. Not so much hype revolving around this UFC 262.
Yeah.
I mean, UFC 261, UFC 260, bangers after bangers. A lot of excitement, a lot of enthusiasm shown by fans. And this one has just been very slow and like very silent. And of course, which we'll get into once we talk about the lightweight championship bout, because
It was supposed to be one of the most exciting title defenses.
Yes. Of course, people are wondering that how come this fight came about.
Yeah.
You know, like
But do you think the hype died down with the cancellation of the
100%.
Nate Diaz fight?
100%.
Because when the fight was announced, I saw that the excitement was peaking, and bro, I was excited.
Even I was excited.
I was like,
to see
wow,
Nate
this
Diaz,
is
yes.
gonna be a fucking bout,
Banger.
bro.
Banger.
It's gonna be a fucking crazy morning. If
Banger.
this is gonna be the co-main event.
Correct.
Nate Diaz and fucking Leon Edwards both at, Nate Diaz has his big fan following.
Yeah.
Leon Edwards is fucking peaking in his career.
And so unfortunate for Leon Edwards.
Yeah.
Almost all of his fights have gotten cancelled since the
Hamzat
past
got
3-4
cancelled,
years.
and this got cancelled.
3-4. Even I think he was supposed to fight Darren Till, but Darren Till also backed out in the last minute. But I think that Nate Diaz was going to pull in the money, was going to pull in the pay-per-views.
Bro, it would be the biggest. I think after 2 years he's fighting.
After 2 years, exactly.
After the BMF title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that getting cancelled, of course the hype died. And then which fight do you want to get into first?
So I'm only excited about 2 fights, and the rest of the card I don't even know who's fighting.
Fair
bro.
enough.
I don't
Fair
think I'm
enough.
gonna watch also.
Fair enough.
One is the Tony Ferguson and Darush.
Correct.
At least that one good fight is there.
That's a good fight.
Yeah. And of course, the main event
main
is very exciting because 2 guys at the top of their career,
True. True.
evenly matched,
True.
are going to fight it out. So it's definitely going to be a great bout.
Let's decrypt the first main event first.
So Darush and Tony.
Darush and Tony. Okay, fair enough. So my concerns for this, okay. Of course, we've seen Tony Ferguson, his last 2 fights. He's taken a lot of punches. He's actually, what I feel is that when a fighter steps into a ring, right, you have to leave a little bit of yourself in the ring.
Absolutely.
And then you
At
walk
that
out.
level?
But I feel since the past 2 fights now, I think Tony Ferguson has left a chunk of himself in the ring, and he's left.
Yeah.
He's taken a beating which I don't think he can overcome now.
Yeah.
But
then there are these fighters like Tony Ferguson who are just born to fight.
Absolutely.
Right? So he has cardio like nobody else.
True.
He can put pressure like nobody else.
Talking about that, it's a 3-round fight,
Yeah.
which is of course going to go the distance then. It's just 3 rounds.
Because, the last 2 fights, not only what you said is absolutely right, because he had 2 bad losses.
Correct.
Okay? Against Oliveira, he was not taken out, but he was outclassed in every round. He was outclassed in every round. Only thing is that you have to admire his fortitude. He has a heart of a fighter.
Absolutely. He's mentally very strong.
Because that fucking armbar that Oliveira put him in, bro, Joe Rogan was screaming. I was like, oh my god, he's gonna break the hand.
Scary.
He came back and fought another round or 2 rounds after
Correct.
that.
It went the distance.
It went the distance.
And Oliveira won by decision.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Oliveira won all the rounds.
Yes.
Outclassed Tony.
Yes. Correct.
But bro, Tony's coming from 2 bad losses.
Correct.
What does it say? I don't know how good Darush is because he has, I think, 5-6 fight win streak.
So he is basically right now talking about, which I want to talk about, Tony Ferguson also, give him the benefit of the doubt. Tony comes across as a fighter that's a fighter for the fans, of the fans.
Yeah.
His last 2 losses were without the fans.
Yeah.
So will this one make a difference? And I hope it does.
Yeah, me too, bro.
And I hope it does.
Me too.
So where this Darush is, he's on a 6-win streak, and of course Tony's on a 2-fight loss streak.
And a very bad loss.
So while Darush is climbing,
But I don't.
and
Darush
peaking.
has not fought.
no.
Any top 10 contenders.
I think he fought. Who fought Islam? Yeah,
Drew Dober.
Drew Dober.
Yeah.
He got
But
him
he's
with
not
a
top
nice
10.
submission. Yeah,
Drew Dober is not top 10.
Yeah, Drew Dober is like a ragdoll right now, bro.
I
He's
think
just
he's
getting eaten alive.
ranked 15th.
Yeah, so fair enough. But that's what. No, so that's why Darush is on his way up.
Yeah.
So he has to fight Tony and all these other contenders, while Tony is now
Yeah.
declining.
Yeah. And leading up to the fight, I think the only fucking trash talk that was going on was by Tony Ferguson.
Yes.
Darush is like, yeah, bring it all, Tony. Bring your best. Tony is like, dude, you're a fucking new child in
You're
this.
a
You don't
bum.
know. You don't know what I am. You know, you think you're going to do this. You
Correct.
think you're going to do that.
Correct.
I'm going to give you the whooping of your life.
And he was directly going at Chandler, huh?
He's going at Dana.
Yeah, Dana also. The Chandler's got Dana privilege.
Dana privilege, yeah.
You know?
And see, a lot of people are upset with Chandler getting the opportunity. And I think Tony is really upset.
Yeah.
Because,
But it makes sense, man.
bro,
It's
of
so
course,
unfair.
he had the Khabib opportunity.
Correct.
But his fight with Khabib got cancelled 5 times. Now
Correct.
that is beyond
Forget
bad luck.
about it. Just
Forget about it.
Let Islam handle that situation now, please.
Exactly. And but you know, Islam has been wanting the Tony fight since a
Yeah,
long
of
time.
course. He's saying, take my purse, fam.
Yeah.
Give Tony my 200K.
Yeah.
You know?
That would be an interesting fight.
Bro, I think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I also have my doubts, Devang, because I feel that now, you know what happens is, like you said, Tony is mentally very strong.
Very strong.
But what happens is that when you're mentally strong and your body, like, the wavelength has to be on the same level.
Mm-hmm.
You might be mentally strong. You might be wanting your body to do something, but your body at the age of 37, 38 can't do that. You know? So, of course, as everybody knows, he's reaching the end of his career right
But
now.
then again, the Polish
that's a different breed.
The Polish giant is peaking at 38.
You know, but why? But the Polish giant has not
Jan
taken so
Blachowicz.
much of a beating.
Huh?
Because of his unorthodox style, Tony Ferguson tends to get hit a lot.
He gets.
Whereas Blachowicz...
Yeah. You know, he dropped Gaethje with a...
the backhand or something.
No, Tai Chi sweep.
Oh, okay.
You know,
The
dance sweep.
Yeah. That's
The
that's
Kung Fu
what,
sweep.
Yeah. That's something fun and interesting that Tony Ferguson brings to the table.
Yeah.
That's why you're always...
Yeah. Tony Ferguson, I think, is the most unorthodox fighter
Correct.
in the UFC
Correct.
roster. The
Correct.
most unorthodox fighter who I think has learned Kung Fu, also is, practices Tai Chi.
Yeah.
You know, those against that wooden
Wasn't he
board.
training in like that pit ball, like, you know, where you go and like the trampolines are there and then you throw those pit balls
Bro, he
around.
does everything,
And he's
yeah.
training there. And I was like, what is this guy on?
So, you know, when they do the media junket, one of the thing is the workout, right?
Huh.
It's a open workout. In boxing also they do that, and UFC also
Correct.
do that. So in front of an audience and the press, you work out. So everyone, what do? They do drills.
Correct.
You know, they do a few mitts.
Yeah.
Right? What does Tony do? He does cartwheels.
Okay.
Jumps around.
Nice.
Dance moves.
Nice.
You know, gulatis.
So he has his own way and his own technique. Yeah.
He wears these gloves and carries a baseball.
Hard. He's like a cartoon, bro. Like Khabib says, you're a stupid guy. You're a stupid guy. I can't understand what you're saying, but you're a stupid
But
guy.
I'll tell you, bro, he's a warrior.
He's a warrior,
Because
man.
the
I
way he
definitely-
fought against Oliveira, he outclassed, but man, he didn't give up at all. He came to the center of the octagon again and again.
And even with Gaethje, you know, he kept coming.
Oh yeah,
he kept
bro.
coming.
He gave a fucking intense uppercut to Gaethje,
Of
bro.
course. But you know, like you could just hear Gaethje's shots landing on Tony, and it was so...
Yeah.
Like one of my friends keeps saying, like, I don't think Tony will ever
But
be
you
the
know,
same after the
Tony got
Gaethje
upset,
fight.
na?
Why? Because they stopped it.
Yeah, and you know, Tony was standing when he stopped.
Of course. But that's Tony.
That says a lot.
Yeah, but that's Tony
That's
only,
Tony,
you know.
yeah.
That's like Nate Diaz.
Yeah.
Nate Diaz and Tony are very similar because these guys are crazy motherfuckers.
Nate Diaz, I think he has the CTE, bro.
Yeah. Their brains are gone. You know, their brains are finished, bro.
But Tony talks properly.
Tony talks, yeah.
You know, CT, you can say, like Stipe Miocic, they say that the way he talks.
Correct. It's now getting like that slur.
Slur, yeah.
But talking about Darush is basically a well-known grappler.
Yeah,
And-
Irani.
Yeah, Irani, and basically he got his BJJ black belt in 5 years.
He has fought high-level BJJ.
Yes.
He is very famous for that.
A lot of accolades, to his names, a lot of achievements.
He's got gold in, I think, world BJJ competitions multiple times.
Correct. So, where do you see this fight going? Is it going to be more of a ground game? Is it going to be a stand-up? Where do you
I
feel-
don't think it's so easy to take Tony down.
Hmm.
I don't think so.
Hmm.
He's a very good mover,
Correct.
very good at angles, absolutely unorthodox. So
Correct.
with an unorthodox fighter, it's a little difficult to take them down unless you're a Khabib.
Yeah.
Relentless.
True.
I don't know what kind of a fighter Darush is, because I don't think he's fought anybody in the top 10 in the last 5-6 fights.
He's on the come up.
But he's what? He's 33, bro. He looks older than Tony.
Yeah. But he still has at least 2-3 years.
Yeah. No, he has 5 years.
He has to, chalo, till 38 to he'll fight.
Yeah.
Because he's on a good 6-win win streak.
Yeah.
That's why Dana has given him Tony.
Yeah. And but I have too much respect for Tony.
Of course.
So
Of course.
I'll go with Tony.
You're going with Tony on that. Huh?
On that.
Fair enough.
You?
I'm going with Tony as well.
Tony?
Because I think, what's going to play a big factor in this is the crowd.
The crowd, yeah.
The crowd loves Tony.
Yeah.
And Tony loves the crowd.
And I love the bouts with the crowds.
And that's what it do. Make it do what it do.
And now to the main event, Oliveira, Michael Chandler.
Okay.
Michael Chandler comes from Bellator.
First what I want to talk about is that how did this fucking fight happen?
I'll tell you how it happened.
So last night I get a message from Krish Shah, 1:30 p.m. in the night. I'm like, shit, must be 1:30 a.m. Must be something hard. I was like, yo, text me please. I'm on bed. He's like, bro, how can somebody who's ranked 3 and 4 fight for the title?
No, that's
Yeah.
So
I was like, yo, see, that's the question everybody's asking right now. But then it gets deeper, right? Because Poirier apparently rejected this fight to opt out for a money fight. Yes, he said that let me go and grab another paycheck while these bums fight, and then I'll fight them again in December.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. See, when you fight McGregor, firstly, we have to also acknowledge McGregor, number one
respect
athlete.
Forbes
highest paid
baby.
athlete of 2020.
Forbes, baby.
Or 2021. No, 2020.
2020.
And that is incredible because he's the first guy to come from MMA. Okay, he's put MMA on the map.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It is huge that an MMA athlete has come into the Forbes list.
And
it is the first
one.
And it's number one.
And overtaking the likes of LeBron James, Messi, Ronaldo, Kevin Durant, Tiger Woods.
Yeah. So that is unbelievable.
What an achievement.
What an achievement. He's a crowd puller. The people love him. He's the people's champ.
True.
Okay. So I don't think Poirier is wrong to take that fight because the kind of money you make in that fight, the kind of eyeballs you get, like for example, Poirier's life has changed now.
Correct.
He's getting TV shows. He's getting all the opportunity in the world. The fucking media is behind him.
The world knows him now.
The world knows it.
Plain and simple.
I'm sure his hot sauce is selling more.
Yeah. And his charity is doing well.
His charity is doing well because he got into the ring with Conor and fucking KO'd him.
Correct.
I think that was Conor's first KO.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
By
yes. Like
striking.
first KO.
KO, yeah. So I don't think it's wrong for him to take that fight.
Absolutely not.
For where Dustin Poirier is in his career, from where is he come and what kind of fights he's had. He's like Miocic. He's fought the best of the best.
A diamond under pressure.
Right? Gaethje, Max Holloway twice.
Now Conor McGregor twice. Going in for the third.
Yeah. Dan Hooker. Correct. All tough fights. So
Habib.
And he got Habib into a guillotine, bro.
And correct.
The only one to get Habib into a little bit of trouble
was Poirier.
Yeah.
That one round.
Yeah, one round.
That one round,
So
yeah, I think
I don't have a problem with that. The reason why Michael Chandler got the opportunity, I think, is very simple, bro. He came from Bellator. Whatever Dana White UFC put in front of him, he said yes. He was very smart. He didn't play any games. Actually, Oliveira was supposed to fight Dan Hooker, but he rejected the fight because he just fought Tony Ferguson a month ago.
Correct.
So he rejected the fight. Michael Chandler not only took up being the backup fighter for Habib
and Gaethje.
Yeah, he took that up immediately. And when he got this offer, mid camp, he took it up immediately. He didn't say no to anything. So whatever Dana White put in front of him, he never said no because he knew that UFC is at the helm of the MMA sport. Correct. Right? When you're a UFC champion, regardless of you've beaten UFC champions before, you're the Bellator champion. Yeah. UFC is UFC.
It's UFC,
number one.
Absolutely. See, it doesn't matter at the end of the day whether you're in the Bellator or you're in the one championship or you might be in the
There are
PFL.
good fighters everywhere.
Everybody's aim is to make it to the UFC. Right?
UFC. All the eyeballs are with the UFC.
It's the money is with the UFC. The fan following is with the UFC. The sponsorships are with the UFC.
And for the casual fans, it's like if you're a UFC fighter, you're a good, serious fighter.
Correct.
Right?
No, you're the best.
You're the best.
You're the best that you've made it in the UFC.
Exactly.
Respect.
Exactly. So I think that's the reason why he got this opportunity. But obviously, what a fight he had with Dan Hooker.
I mean, like 2.5 minutes?
2.5 minutes putting relentless pressure.
What was that pressure, man?
Relentless pressure, intelligent pressure. Not like Tyron Woodley just going out and doing nothing. He was maintaining good distance.
Correct.
Using his jab, using his power shot.
Bro, his jab, he relies on his jab a lot, which is good. And he's an in and out fighter. He'll throw a quick jab and move out. He'll throw a quick body shot and move out. So there's no time for the other opponent to even reach him.
And I think he is really a great mix of wrestling, BJJ, and
Correct.
striking, because his striking is unbelievable,
Bro, he's too strong.
He's unbelievable.
He's too
In
strong.
Bellator, I think he lost one fight,
Hmm.
okay, where he didn't take any shots because his ankle twisted in the fight, okay, and with a twisted ankle he hit somebody,
Knocked out?
put him down, and the fight was called off because of his leg or something.
Oh.
Yeah.
So his basically he's also fought Eddie Alvarez, and in the Bellator only before Eddie Alvarez moved to the one championship, whatever squad, and he also has a good record in the Bellator. I think he was like 15-4.
Yeah.
15
He has
wins,
a
4
great
losses
record.
in the Bellator.
Yeah.
So that's why Mike Chandler even came to the UFC, right?
Yeah.
And the transition was, I think it's like destiny.
Destiny, bro.
Because he entered the UFC at such a time where there was nobody for the title. There's no contender for the title.
And with the kind of performance he put in the last fight, you can see that this guy is hungry. This guy wants it, you know.
Yes.
So there are good fighters,
Correct.
and then there are these elite hungry fighters, right? I definitely put Conor up there because he doesn't need to fight.
You put Conor in the hungry category?
Absolutely, because he doesn't need to fight. Why does a Conor need to fight? He has more money than Dana White.
Correct.
He doesn't need to fight.
Correct.
But he
True.
said he's going to fight twice this year. So he's a fighter.
True. He's a fighter by heart. then.
Habib, fighter. He wanted to be an undisputed champion. That was his dream.
Which
he didn't
he did.
care about anything else.
Correct.
Right? So there are these guys, bro. Usman, you know.
Fighter.
Pure. He wants a good legacy. He doesn't care for anything else. You know,
Correct.
he wants to be the best.
Best of the
Right?
best. GSP, fighter.
GSP. You know, so these
know?
kind of guys.
Anderson Silva, fighter.
Yeah. And when you see Michael Chandler taking up these opportunities, giving these kind of spectacular performances, also the backflip is banned in the
Thank
UFC.
God, because that was scary to watch.
Yeah, the
I was like
backflips are
scared
banned.
for his damn feet.
Yeah,
man.
after
His
you win, you
ACL,
can't.
bro.
Yeah,
And the way he landed was also a little awkward.
yeah.
You know?
Apparently, Gaethje also used to do that after every fight, and they told him no, not to do that, and he did it, and the whole crowd applauded.
Crazy.
So they put it in all his
Crazy.
highlights.
Proper. So basically, you're saying that Chandler does deserve this fight.
I think Chandler does deserve this fight because now who else is there? Okay, Poirier was the main guy, but he rejected the fight for the corner, which is
I would
fair.
have said Gaethje, but Gaethje already got his
Gaethje
title
got,
shot.
no?
Yeah,
Gaethje got his title shot.
Yes.
Gaethje
Gaethje got his title shot, correct. I'm still telling you, man, it's going to be Islam Makhachev. Soon. This guy is just...
But Islam is going to have 4-5 fights before even
I'm
getting...
telling you, but nobody wants to fight him. Regardless, let's get back to the two
He's not
fighters
getting,
we have
yeah.
to discuss.
And when it comes to Oliveira...
See, we got to show...
Man, no, he's peaking. He's again peaking,
He's
bro.
basically talking about Oliveira. A lot of people are not familiar with Oliveira. But Oliveira holds the UFC record for the most submissions.
Yeah, and I think the
at
second
14.
most bonuses.
Yes, with 14 submissions. Yet people don't know much about him because there are some fighters that just come across as being very humble. You know, they are not those. They are not showmen.
Not only showman, bro. See what Khabib did smart. I'll tell
Correct.
you. He learned English.
Yes.
Okay. These Brazilians, they need to learn a little English to promote themselves.
Like Paulo Costa needs to.
Yeah. See, Paulo Costa has this next level power, so people want to watch.
Yeah.
Right?
Oliveira, see, nobody likes to watch fights that end in submissions, to
But
be honest.
also, I didn't know Oliveira before that Tony Ferguson
Yeah,
fight.
nobody
As
knew
in,
him. Like,
I didn't know that he's
Correct,
having such a
correct,
good streak.
correct.
Because I was not excited to watch
Can you
any of his
imagine?
fights.
Can you imagine a fighter that is not that famous but holds the fucking UFC record for the most submissions?
Yeah.
14.
Yeah.
You know, so he is basically. He deserves the shot. He deserves the title shot, I would say. Charles Oliveira.
He deserves it
100%.
100%.
100%.
Michael Chandler is the only
That's
doubt.
questionable.
Yeah, that's the
Right?
discussion.
Yes.
He deserves
it.
Yeah,
Correct.
he definitely deserves it. There is
Talking
no doubt about it.
Charles Oliveira, also we know that he's one of the greatest BJJ fighters in the UFC right now. Talking about his how he started BJJ, basically they say that he also comes from very humble beginnings, from the favelas. So you know, we've seen a lot of fighters come from the favelas. This guy, basically, when he was age 6. His best friend's dad, who was also his neighbor, his best friend's dad actually took Charles Oliveira to a BJJ gym. So, you know, if you're from the favelas, you're not well to do.
Yeah.
You know, so he went back to his parents and he said that, you know, I enjoyed BJJ. He also has a brother. Charles Oliveira has a brother who's apparently also a fighter and about to make it into the UFC.
Oh, sick.
So he went to his parents and he was like, can you give me some money because I want to join BJJ classes. Parents said I don't have money. So the neighbor's dad went back to the coach and said try and put him on a scholarship.
Wow.
You know, so the coach basically agreed, put him on a scholarship. And then from the age of 7 till 18, his first professional fight was at the age of 18.
Wow.
Became a BJJ legend. And the uncle who introduced him eventually died 2 years after he introduced him to this new coach of his. So basically, that's why he keeps going back to the favelas. He still lives in the favelas.
He lives in a nicer house.
Yeah, he lives in a little nicer house, but he says that it's my right and duty to stay in the favelas and be an example.
Yeah.
You know? So another very humble story.
Very humble story. In his MMA career, he did have some tough times.
Correct.
He had some tough times where he was not performing very good at all. But then he got himself together, you know.
Yes.
Like how Mazulov has had the resurrection, you know.
Correct.
This guy also made a comeback like no other.
For sure. For sure.
He's speaking right now.
Correct.
Most deserving of the title shot.
For sure.
So the main bout is definitely going to be very exciting.
You know, another thing is that basically I resaw a few of Charles Oliveira's fights. Okay, like he might be very strong on the ground and all, but even his striking is very improved.
Yeah.
If you see, he's a very tall fellow. Right, he's tall. He has a very Muay Thai sort of stance.
Yeah.
Even for a fighter like Oliveira, his end goal is to do what? Is to take the fight on the ground. And choke out his opponent.
Yes.
That's the same thing he's gonna try and do with Chandler.
Yes.
But let's not forget that Chandler is a fucking primo wrestler.
When it comes to wrestling, MMA, there is a lot of advantage for wrestlers, you know, because not only that you can give a threat to a striker with your, level changes, but when it comes to BJJ also, your takedown defense is
insane,
incredible, you know.
Come on.
And also if you wrestle offensively, then ground and pound is at another level. So that's why all these wrestlers are the best at ground and pound.
Correct.
Because
100%.
Forget anybody. Let's talk about Ben Askren. What did he do?
Just took people down.
Just took people down and ground and pound.
Bam, bam, bam. Yeah.
Right? Just control.
Talking about takedown defense, Kamaru Usman. 100%.
Right? 100%.
Yeah.
So, Kamaru Usman dictated against Masvidal in both the fights. Are we going to stand or are we going to go on the ground?
You tell me.
No, I decide.
Okay, fair enough.
You understand?
Fair enough.
So, that's the problem he's going to have with this guy. Because see, with Tony Ferguson, he's good at BJJ. But he doesn't have the kind of wrestling background. He doesn't not even have the BJJ background that...
But Tony trains with Eddie Bravo.
Yeah, but right now. That's right now, in the last few years.
10th Planet.
Yeah, that's in the last few years.
No?
You know, his coach was Brock Lesnar, no?
Who's?
The Ultimate Fighter.
Hard.
Yeah. So he called Brock Lesnar before the fight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they had this one joke about chicken and chicken salad.
Acha.
Yeah.
Nice.
Said that in the press
American
conference.
humor.
Yeah.
So yeah, what I was saying is that...
but one more thing, bro. What kind of a natural athlete is Michael Chandler?
Always, bro. He's so conditioned, mate.
He's a natural athlete.
You've seen the guy he's built.
Bro.
Like he doesn't come across to me as a damn lightweight, bro.
Bro, he... Like, for example, Oliveira, pure talent. Okay?
Crisp.
But Michael Chandler, genetics.
You're saying like...
he's an athlete.
Acha, fair enough. Yeah,
Don't you think so?
Because, I'm telling you, will see the size difference in the ring. You're going to see Mike Chandler and Oliveira. Mike Chandler is going to look like welterweight, bro.
Welterweight, also like so quick.
So quick.
You know, light on the feet, not flat-footed in the octagon.
Correct. His punches are also quick. Pop.
And full of power. Bro, in the Dan Hooker fight, the punch on the stomach.
Correct.
Bro, got Dan Hooker like wondering that, oh my God,
there's a lot of power.
Yeah.
Underestimated the power. So, I think both the fighters have advantages. Like while
it's
Mike Chandler,
it's a good matchup.
It's a very good matchup.
Styles make fights.
Because while Mike Chandler is good at striking, Charles Oliveira is good when it comes to groundwork.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens.
Definitely.
And
with that, predictions for UFC 262. Let's go. Right. Darush versus Tony Ferguson.
Darush versus Tony Ferguson. I'm going to go with my heart, not my mind for this one. Of course, after seeing Tony's decline for the past 2 fights, of course, we can also put into the fact that there was no crowd.
Yes.
And Tony Ferguson is a people's fighter.
He's a people's fighter.
And with the crowd back, are we going to see the old Tony?
Let's hope so.
I think we will. So I'm going Tony decision.
Oh,
Yep.
perfect. I'm also going Tony decision again. Just because he's a warrior, he's fought. Even in his losses, he's fought well. I feel.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So never give up. I hope he doesn't have the losing streak like Tyron Woodley. You know, I hope he makes a comeback. They're saying that if Tony doesn't perform very well in this,
Cut.
maybe he's going to be cut.
You know, that's exactly what I was going to ask you after your prediction. Is that if Tony loses, I think it's time for him to retire.
But what about Cowboy?
See, Cowboy Cerrone is.
Cowboy is now going to fight in lightweight.
Which we'll talk about when that oldie fights.
When he's 50.
You know? Yeah. when Cerrone fights, we'll talk about Cerrone for sure. But I think Tony now has taken a lot of beating, man. You know,
But that's only in the last 2 fights, bro.
But come on, you know how those last 2 fights were enough to end a career.
His style is only...
And I don't think last 2 fights. I think before also his fights, we've just not noticed it that much.
No, but not like that, bro. He's outclassed his opponents. Because his cardio is just unbelievable. So he doesn't put all his power into every shot. So he keeps going.
Yeah,
you know,
he's
like,
not. Basically, Tony is not a one-punch knockout artist.
No.
He's like that. He'll consistently wear you down. He'll consistently hurt you.
Tony was a guy who would frustrate people.
Correct.
You know, frustrate people with his cardio. Because he was relentless.
Yeah, and he had that pace. He kept coming with the pace.
And you saw what he did against Oliveira, bro. That armbar was deep.
I'm telling you, it cracked.
It cracked,
I'm
definitely.
telling you, it cracked.
Yes.
That's why, you know, while Gaethje gave him all the head hurt, all the head shots, all the head damage, this fucking Oliveira took his limbs out. Bro.
out.
So
bro.
now what's going to come, I don't know.
So let's hope he doesn't have a devastating loss, bro, against Darush.
Yes.
And now the main event. Michael Chandler, Charles Oliveira.
So how I'm going to predict this fight is that who do I want to see fight the winner of Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier.
Correct.
Right. That's the matchup. That's eventually the matchup.
So bro, Gaethje ko nikal diye kya?
Gaethje will fight the winner. Gaethje is going to fight, I think, the winner of Conor McGregor and Poirier. And the winner of
No. Conor McGregor
Chandler and Oliveira.
No. The fighter of Conor McGregor Poirier, I mean the winner of Conor McGregor Poirier is definitely fighting for the title.
Of course, but if he's gonna whoever wins, whether it's gonna be Chandler or Oliveira, is gonna have to defend their title against the winner.
So you're saying against the winner, na? So you're saying Gaethje is not going to fight for another 2 bouts.
I mean, he'll fight. I think he'll fight.
So you're saying
He'll have a few
2021
bouts.
he's going to have 1 fight.
See who's a good opponent for Gaethje right now.
All of these guys, Oliveira, Chandler.
But they're already fighting.
Yeah, that's what.
So now, I'm trying to understand what next for Gaethje.
So Gaethje bichara gaya, huh?
And Gaethje and Islam will not fight because they have the same manager.
Islam is
who is there?
Islam needs another 3-4 fights to get into that top 5.
I mean, that's why the smartest thing for Gaethje would do is just sit on the sidelines and quietly watch.
Yeah, bro.
Just make notes.
Yeah. Poor guy.
Watch your fighters and then come in and take the title then. I think Gaethje would be a superb champion.
Gaethje is a superb fighter, bro. Every time he goes in the octagon, it's prime time.
Prime time.
So yeah, who you got?
So for Chandler Oliveira, I think Chandler would make a very exciting champion. You know, Chandler comes across as a personality. So for the UFC to benefit, I think if Mike Chandler won, Dana White would be very happy.
Yeah.
But I don't believe and I don't think that Mike Chandler deserves this title shot yet, because let's put into consideration that he's only had 2.5 minutes in the UFC.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
That's like 180 seconds in the UFC. That's it. 3 minutes max and you're giving him a title shot, right? So talking about that, and then I'll talk about the opponent, Charles Oliveira. Well deserved. The UFC record for the most submissions comes from the favelas. A good story, humble guy from Brazil, you know. So for me, I'm going Charles Oliveira. I want to root for. I want to basically shout out. I would like to pick Mike Chandler, but I just don't think he's going to win. Because I think Charles Oliveira has a lot of experience in the UFC. He's fought a lot of UFC fighters.
But Michael Chandler also definitely has fought only high-level fighters in the last at least 5-6 bouts.
100%. But the UFC is different.
No, but again, when it comes to deserving and all, it's like he was at the right place at the right time.
Correct.
Whatever Dana asked of him, he said yes. He put his hands up first, proactive, you know, didn't say no to nothing.
No, fair enough.
So,
benefit of the doubt, you know,
Yeah.
it's your timing was right.
yeah, your timing was right.
Your timing was right.
And unfortunately for Gaethje, actually it was supposed to be Gaethje if Michael Chandler was not
100%.
here. But Gaethje had a few exchange of words. I think did nothing fit well for what he wanted. You know, he also wanted the corner fight first.
Who doesn't want a corner fight?
Exactly.
You know, everyone like Poirier
So-
wanted the corner fight.
So I'm from seeing their styles. Oliveira definitely a great grappler, very good fighter, all round MMA athlete. But I think this one is going to go with Chandler. It's going to end quick. It's going to be a KO.
You're going for the KO.
Yeah, maybe first round.
Oh, I'm going for Charles Oliveira guillotine.
Guillotine?
Yeah,
Which round?
second round.
Second round.
Straight up.
So second round submission. I'm going first round KO.
Correct.
And with that, we'll be back Sunday. Ciao.
We gone. UFC 262 is officially a wrap, and we are in the final round, bro.
Final round.
Thoughts.
Let's start with Tony Darush.
Correct. Let's do it.
Unfortunate. Tony couldn't give him a good,
100%,
competition.
man.
It was not the fight did not seem level.
Correct.
Darush outclassed him. Tony couldn't handle the takedowns. There was no takedown defense,
Absolute no takedown.
Which I
defense.
thought, that against a Darush, Tony will be able to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
But he wasn't.
Yeah.
He wasn't.
Yeah.
He couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And his style of fighting, I don't think he was throwing that many strikes also. The amount of strikes he was throwing was also not as much as he used to,
yeah.
pre-Gaethje.
I think he got like some only, if I'm not mistaken, he's only landed 30 strikes in the past 30 minutes in the UFC.
In
He's
the past
fought
30
minutes. So that's he's only averaging 1 strike per minute.
So
he's
basically-
getting outclassed right now.
He's getting outclassed. And again, in this fight, he was outclassed.
Correct.
There was, you can't say that it was a close fight at all.
No.
And what do you think about the heel hook?
Bro, the heel hook, my God. Firstly, I want to the fight was very boring. According to
don't
me,
you think it snapped?
it snapped, bro.
It snapped.
Darush said that it snapped, and I looked at him, and he just said,
And there was like it was swollen.
So they said that his ankle was looking like a golf ball, and then when he exited the ring, it was a baseball.
But how?
Bro,
what
this is the same thing.
fortitude?
This is the same thing that happened with Oliveira.
Yeah,
Sometimes he's too strong for his own good.
Own good.
You know?
Yeah.
You can't be that strong where you're fucking up your limbs like that.
Right? Like, don't you want to come back?
Exactly. And I mean, you reach that phase as a fighter where your pride overtakes everything.
Exactly.
You know, you don't want to tap out. You rather break a limb than tap.
And I don't think in this fight business you have to be that. You have to have heart, but you have to be smart.
Correct.
You know, in George St. Pierre's prime, when he was losing once against striking, he tapped out on strikes.
Oh, wow.
Like that, so people hate.
Oh, wow.
The pure fans don't like that.
Incredible.
But he is like, dude, I know I made a mistake. I was getting whooped.
True.
Why do I want to break my face? I want to come back and get my belt back.
See, it's the same thing. Where,
Don't you think that is smart?
bro, it's very smart. What's a loss, man? Everyone gets losses.
Yeah.
There are only a few fighters that go undefeated.
So I don't want to see Tony break his hands and legs.
Correct. See, if I was Tony now, I would be like, okay, fuck it, I've already lost this fight. Right? Because they are saying
And it
that,
was deep, bro.
Yeah, it was deep, not broke, bro. It broke. You saw his reaction. That's why. So
His face
Darush,
went like,
you know what Darush said in his interview to that Megan Olivi. He said that I broke his ankle and I fucked up his knee as well. Yeah. So he said I fucked up his knee, but then this guy's a zombie. He was
Yeah,
not
he's a zombie.
retaliating.
He
He was
said
not
that.
responding.
Yeah.
So I let go of the lock and I started pounding him. You're understanding? And he said that preparing for such a fighter is very tough, right? Because firstly, he's very skinny. So when you feel like you're putting pressure on him, the person's body keeps slipping, right? So you can't even put a proper lock on him. Now 11 minutes or 15 minutes of the fight was on the floor, bro. Was on the ground. You're understanding? Now it's pretty much expected from Darush because he's a BJJ.
Yeah.
Great.
And good wrestler also.
But overall, very boring fight. Like I was napping, bro. I just was not in. I knew Tony lost because there was no takedown defense. When there's no takedown defense and you're fighting a BJJ great, bro, you are going to lose.
BJJ great and a great wrestler, so he knows how to put his weight. He was maintaining all positions.
Correct.
Like Darush was running the game. You know, wherever he wanted to be, he was being. He did not let Tony out.
Absolutely.
You know, he had full control over the match.
Absolutely.
And good props to him.
Absolutely.
Hope he gets good fights now.
Yeah. So
Top five.
now they're saying that he'll fight someone in the top 5.
Yeah, he should 7 win streak.
7 win streak.
That's
and
fair.
some good names.
Yeah.
Now, of course, Tony Ferguson as well. So
You think they'll cut Tony Ferguson?
No.
No.
Why I don't think they'll cut Tony Ferguson is that
The whole crowd was cheering for him. Huh?
firstly he's a fan favorite.
Yeah.
So he pulled in majority of the numbers for
Yeah.
262. I feel.
He did.
Okay. And another thing is that he's done so much for the UFC.
Yeah.
Right. So, but I feel that he'll get one last shot.
Mm-hmm.
He'll get one last shot, and that will be his final fight.
Yeah.
So his next fight, according to me, is his final fight. If he makes it, he continues. If not, he gets cut. What do you think?
I agree with you. I think because no, they've been cutting people left, right, and center. But what about Cowboy Cerrone? Dana is giving after this brutal loss he had just right now last week.
Correct.
Dana is telling he wants a one last fight at 155. Dana is like, okay.
Take it.
Take it.
But
so,
then again, these guys.
As you said, it's like what have you done for the company?
Correct.
So I think it's that, and I think Tony will get another chance. And Cowboy, Tony, and all they have given their life to fighting. They really enjoy it. That's all they know how to do, and that's all they want to do.
And Dana as a boss has to support that fact.
Yeah.
But another thing is that, dude, like you saw, Tony is not Tony anymore. Like age has worn him down a little bit.
Absolutely.
His mind is strong, but his body isn't able to retaliate.
Absolutely. He can still take all the beating.
Correct.
But that's not going to win you anything, right? You're going to get in trouble eventually when you get old. Also, you don't want to be hurting everywhere.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's smart. I don't think that's the way to fight competitively in an octagon.
And bro, a lot of people were saying that because his fighting style is so unorthodox, that he never had the fundamentals right in the first place. So as you grow older, right, the only thing that'll help you are your fundamentals. Your basics.
Yeah.
Even this DC made a very good comparison. He said that LeBron James is only performing right now the way he's performing because he knows his fundamentals.
Absolutely.
His basics are on point. You don't have to go over and above and do something
because
comfortable
at 28, your speed and your reflex is going to be very different than 38, right?
True.
And
True.
It's not in your hand. It's age.
There's no way to fight it.
Correct.
You don't fight age,
Let's hope he can come back.
Of course, man. Of course.
I hope he doesn't do another title.
An all-time legend, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if he feels like he's not gonna be able to win his third round, just don't fight. Just retire. Bow out like a champ.
Yeah. Like I don't think you need to break your ankle.
Like Anderson Silva. Versus Uriah Hall, which happened to be his last fight.
Yeah.
Bro, it was not Anderson Silva. Right?
No. Anderson Silva for his last 4 fights.
It was his decline. Like even all the commentators said that we don't want to see you fight anymore. You're a great. Let's remember you as a great, not as a faded fighter.
So you know what they say, na? It's like MMA is such a new sport. It's 22 years old. So the thing is, there is no other sport evolving as fast as MMA.
Absolutely.
So the new breed of fighters, they are at another level. True. Even GSP said the same thing. That when you talk about me and Kamaru, you have to understand that the new guys are better. What they are doing at the level they are doing it is very different than what we were doing.
Absolutely.
The competition they are facing is very different.
Very different.
So times have changed.
And as you progress through time, you eventually start getting better. The game evolves, you evolve, your skills evolve.
Exactly.
So if you don't evolve, what's the point of watching the sport?
True that. And now to the main event.
What a fight.
Michael Chandler versus Charles Oliveira.
What a bout.
Great bout. The only exciting fight of the night. And man, what a start. In the first minute, Michael had him in trouble. In the first round, Michael had him in trouble like 3 times.
3 times.
3 times. Yeah. And outpacing, outclassing, Oliveira couldn't tell where it's coming from, and the power. You could see that Oliveira's feeling the power.
Shit.
Right? Oliveira was doing one thing very smart. He was keeping his knee high, So either he would teep and keep distance. Or either he would stop the takedown.
I saw two different forms of martial arts in Oliveira's game. Number one is great Muay Thai.
Yeah.
Great Muay Thai. He was checking his kicks.
Yeah.
He was steeping. He was keeping the distance. Don't come close to me.
Yeah.
And the other thing, of course, is BJJ.
Yeah. So basically, if you see his stance, he was keeping his knee up only because offensively, if Michael wants to take him down,
he has to come close.
And Michael will be able to take him down because of his power, because of his explosive.
And another thing is that Chandler is 5'8" with very short reach.
Yeah.
He's got short limbs.
Yeah.
So for him to actually make an impact, he has to come close, right?
Exactly.
You can't like reach for Oliveira.
Exactly. And against a wrestler like Michael Chandler, you don't want to be taken down.
True.
You want to control if you're on the ground, right?
True.
So that was a good game plan. I saw that, and it kept Chandler away. It kept him guessing. But obviously Chandler has this crazy crazy explosive power that he throws these punches in a bunches and
and moves out.
And even if two connect, his job
done.
is done.
Yeah.
He just needs to connect one.
But that's what happened. Do you remember during the latter stages of the first round? Chandler connected Oliveira with a nice hook.
Very nice
hook, and he went down.
Yeah.
Oliveira fell.
Yeah.
But Oliveira fell in such a way that I thought that the fight is over.
Yeah.
But somehow he recovered.
Bro, did you see the elbow Chandler gave him in the first round? That one elbow was crazy.
Yo, Oliveira was bleeding.
That
right?
Because Chandler
did
body
some
slammed
shit.
him,
Yeah,
na?
the body slam, and then his head hit his head. I think that body slam, that's a fucking, you need to have some balls to basically give your back to a BJJ guy like fucking Oliveira.
I was gonna say that only. That not only that I felt that Michael Chandler came into this fight overconfident.
What do you think of the guillotine attempt? I really thought that was also one way of ending the fight.
It was deep. It was deep, but the problem with guillotine is that, as you said, thin, lanky guys.
Yeah.
If you just control your breathing and all, you can get out of a guillotine.
Easy.
It's very few people have a very deep guillotine.
Correctly.
So I knew that guillotine was not going to trouble him so much.
John Jones have one of the best guilotines.
John Jones, that standing guillotine was crazy.
The best, bro.
Even Dustin Poirier has a very good guillotine.
Correct.
But it was. I think Michael Chandler was quite overconfident.
Correct.
Because he should have stopped the fight in the first round. I don't know why.
You know what I felt? One thing that I felt that I did not see. So, how much of a review and research I've done about Michael Chandler, everyone talks about his ground and pound. Right? Now, if a fighter like Oliveira is on the ground, okay, I did not see Chandler actually making use of his ground and pound.
Because he didn't want to go in guard, na?
That's what I always felt, that he was a little skepta.
Yeah.
But now, if your opponent is already hurt and he's anyways in his BJJ guard or stance or whatever, you might as well go all out and give it to him. No?
Yeah, but
okay, let's take an example. How did Kamaru beat Gilbert?
Yeah, but he also didn't go in the guard.
Yeah, but Gilbert was down only.
Yeah.
But Kamaru still went.
No, he didn't go.
Yeah, bro. You see the last few rounds, he went. He was going at it. He was whooping his ass.
No, he was kicking the legs.
But then he started even punching.
Yeah. So it's very risky against the BJJ guy because you can be taken in a triangle.
Correct. Finished.
So
easy.
Because you go through, the two legs can wrap around you like a snake.
Yeah.
So maybe he didn't want to take that risk. But I think I agree with you. He should have taken the risk. He had the second chance, the second opportunity was like there to finish the fight. It was right there.
Correct.
But man, this is what champions are made out of. Charles Oliveira fucking.
So first round you given it to Chandler?
No, give it. Matlab, Charles Oliveira got a whooping.
Bro,
the whole round he was getting whooped. He survived the round. That is only great.
Correct. So the first round was easy Chandler.
And one more thing about Chandler, bro. How confident you got to be about your cardio to fucking go all out.
All out in the first round.
3-4 times like that. Firstly, his combinations are fucking
next level
combinations. Very explosive combinations. It's not like jab and move around and all. No,
correct.
It's attacking like a train.
Correct.
So more energy goes in that explosive because you want to miss and you want to hit hard. So wherever it lands, you want little damage to come.
But the fight only started off with a bang.
Oh, that
do you remember the leg kick?
Yeah.
Fucking Chandler's down. I was like, yes, let's go.
That was beautiful.
Crazy kick.
Crazy. And so basically when you get a leg kick like that, if you keep your foot light, you don't hurt your shin that much.
But then you just lose balance.
You lose balance, but you can break the kick.
Correct.
Because
it goes with the momentum.
It goes with the momentum.
So you're not against the force.
Exactly. So a lot of people keep it a little loose. But timing and placement, manna padega. And then the second round, holy shit.
Wow.
What a comeback.
Wow.
What a comeback. My favorite fights, Rahul, are these. When a person is put down, when the first round he was outclassed, he was ragdolled, I can say.
Correct.
Because it didn't happen once. He was not in trouble once. He was in trouble multiple times. And then to come back. And to come back standing, striking, and to take a person like Michael Chandler down.
Crazy, man. Crazy.
So when the way Michael Chandler went down on that one hook, I felt that Michael Chandler was overconfident with his combos. He was overconfident with his attack.
Absolutely.
Mode,
And it was a very similar sort of knockdown that Poirier gave Conor against the cage.
Yeah. And it was beautiful. It was championship worthy. To come back like that after the first round whooping, it's not easy, bro.
Wow. Came from behind and actually proved that he's worth being the current champion. It's a new era. And you want to see fighters like this.
Absolutely. And again, what you said about the fundamentals, Oliveira has the fundamentals in place. high guard. The best thing I liked about his striking is he doesn't throw too many. He doesn't throw too. He doesn't load up in every shot, but precision. You know, he'll throw 2 shots.
Correct.
He'll throw jab hook.
Yeah.
But
you see,
his precision is super.
You see all the punches he threw in that last flurry. You see that when he was throwing his left hook, his right hand was up.
Yeah.
When he was throwing his right hook, his left hand was up. So his fundamentals are on point. You know, now you can say that this is a complete fighter.
Yeah.
Not only is his ground game crazy, but his striking game is also crazy.
Like Mike Chandler is confident that with the kind of power he has, he'll throw anywhere. It'll hit your temple. It'll hit your. You will get some damage.
Correct.
Right. And with his power, maybe you'll go down on your knee at least.
True.
But Oliveira, bruh, he got that. You know,
he got that fucking hook
on the chin, bro. On the chin.
And then of course, once you're down, then you're down.
It was beautiful.
Finish it off.
It was,
and even the celebration was great. You could see that it was 10 years in the making.
Bro, Dil se.
10 years in the making. He went mad.
Mad.
You know, and well deserved. Another great story. Another humble story.
Great story. Great fight, bro. Comeback king. Like same like Kamaru, bro. You know, he was in trouble in the first round.
True.
And the way he came back was magnificent.
Yes, sir.
And the way Charles Oliveira come back, he deserves to be the lightweight champion. I'm excited to see his next fight. Lightweight division is fucking popping.
Popping again.
We are waiting for fights for Gaethje. Fucking Dustin Connor.
Yes,
God, I'm
Dustin
excited
Connor,
again.
bro.
I feel it's
bro,
January.
It's Jan again. It's Jan again, baby.
Let's go.
The lightweight division is back.
Yeah.
And bro, like, what do you think next for... see, quite obvious that Oliveira is going to fight the winner.
Of Poirier.
And I didn't know. Bro, I didn't know Chandler's old. He's 35.
Yeah.
So he's approaching the end of his career.
Yeah.
So now I think that this year he has to at least put in 2-3 fights.
This is his last run.
This is his last run. He has to make it do what it do. He's saying, give me another 12 months. I'll have the belt strapped around my waist.
Best of luck.
According to me, I don't think that's going to be possible because
the division is stacked.
Yeah, the division is stacked right now and everyone wants their run. You know,
the division is stacked.
So what?
It's not like heavyweight. You'll just get another opportunity.
Correct. And in the past year, a lot of these lightweight champs have lost. Gaethje, you know, Dan Hooker, great fighter. Now Michael Chandler, you know, and so on and so forth. So now what I say is that Gaethje should go up against Chandler.
Bro, what a
fucking fight! What a fight!
Both chaotic fighters. They are fucking gladiators, bro. That style is made to happen. It would be more exciting than this Oliveira and Chandler,
bro. And both have some different level of cardio. Both have different level of cardio, bro. Both keep going at it.
What power. Even Habib said that Gaethje is the hardest punch he's ever got.
That uppercut, pop.
Yeah.
Shit.
Bro, that fight...
That is a fight that has to happen, yeah.
That fight, I'm excited.
But, you know, I'm still wondering that, you know, what next for Gaethje? Because Gaethje also deserves a title shot, right?
Yeah.
He's number 2 right now.
Yeah.
Is he? He's number 2? He's number 2, yeah. It's basically Poirier and now Gaethje.
No, sorry. It's Poirier, Conor now. Conor went up.
No, Conor's 5.
Conor went up. He became 2.
No, I think he's 5, no? He's 2?
He went up.
Oh shit, it's rigged, okay.
Last week.
Okay,
something like this happened. Last week.
So I think that the losers now have to be fucking matched up and put into the cage.
Yeah.
You know?
So I think for Gaethje, for us, for the fans, the most exciting fight would be Gaethje and Chandler. And can't wait for Conor, Dustin Poirier trilogy.
Poirier, correct.
They'll fight against Oliveira,
man.
So this year 2021 is going to be popping.
You know?
Lightweight division is stacked, bro. Stacked. It's a danger zone.
And it's, bro, like I had written off the lightweight division after Habib retiring.
It's more exciting now.
Now it's gotten way more exciting.
It's more exciting.
And now with Oliveira, bro.
You feel like these fighters are like human. There is a chance for them to lose.
Everyone has a chance for them to lose. And so today, in fact, I think they've said that Derek Lewis versus Francis Ngannou confirm, and the winner will fight Miocic.
Yeah.
So that's also another great bout.
Because Miocic deserves it. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, he deserves
100%.
It.
He's defended his title so many times. Why can't he get another shot?
Absolutely. And if he's saying he's in the game, why not?
Yeah.
John Jones.
Dummy, bro. Behaving like a dumb fuck.
Yeah. John Jones and Miocic was like Miocic said yes because it would be a big fight for Miocic.
Man.
John Jones said, guys, relax. I don't want that fight. I'm okay to wait. I'm 33. Yeah. I have no problem waiting. You know. Dana said that if you don't want Miocic, bruh, you're not gonna get Ngannou because it's Derek Lewis's turn. And I think it's fair.
Fair enough.
John Jones and Ngannou would be the biggest and the baddest and the best
fight ever. And they should take it back to Africa.
Yeah, they
You
should
know?
take it to Africa.
They should take it to Africa and fucking shut the country down,
Yeah,
bro.
but I don't think that's gonna happen this year.
Yeah, not this year. I think this year it's John Jones won't come back only this year.
That would be
How?
very sad. That would
How?
be very sad. That means
How?
he's going to be out 3 years, 2 years. No, last February he fought. So yeah, almost
What's that
1.5,
point,
2 years. I don't think that makes sense. He should take a fight. He should
Correct,
fight, but he
correct.
knows what's best for him. You know, he's
Correct.
been a champion since so long now. Might as well fight only for the money and the
True.
title.
True.
Derek Lewis and Ngannou last fight was the most boring heavyweight fight ever. Now one was throwing no punches.
What were those fucking punches that Ngannou threw, you know?
Bro, Derek Lewis won the
No
fight.
form.
Derek Lewis won the fight and said sorry
Yeah.
to the fans. You know, he came on Joe Rogan and also said, "Man, my back was broken, my neck was this, and I couldn't fight." And so,
But it'll be a fun bout, especially seeing Ngannou 2.0.
bruh,
You know, the scariest man on the planet right now,
Bruh.
Francis Ngannou.
Bruh.
You know, and I don't think Ngannou is, bro. Like I might be a little.
but I think
overconfident
Ngannou
right
should
now.
have Kamaru permanently in his
In his
corner,
corner,
and
yeah.
vice versa.
Correct.
Right?
It's a good combo, bro.
It's a good combo.
You know, and both of them should be in Izzy's corner. But Izzy's too good. He doesn't need nobody, you know.
Izzy's
But
too good.
next up, we're gonna see our man Stylebender back
Izzy and
against
Vettori.
Mr. Vettori.
Wow.
They're gonna run it again.
I think Izzy's gonna win
It's just too easy for him, man.
Aram se.
It's just too easy for him.
Outclass.
I think that he needs to jump up to light heavyweight again. He needs some new challenges.
he needs some new challenges.
You know what, Whittaker again? No, man.
But the fight game, bro, you know, this is the problem of the fight game. At least in MMA, you're allowed a loss. In boxing, if you get a loss, you're written off.
Written
you know?
off, man.
So now, what did Mike Chandler say? That, bro, when I came into the UFC, nobody wanted the fights.
Huh.
Now, let's hope that because of my one loss, at least I get fights.
Yeah, true. Which he will, bro. Which he will.
So we'll be back for the Stylebender fight.
Oh no, we're gonna be back for Logan Paul Mayweather.
Logan Paul Mayweather,
Yes,
yeah, June 6th.
June 6th, bruh.
All right.
And with that, we
GLE,
go.
we out. Ciao, ciao.